How we doing today, everybody? It is Sunday, December 10th, 2023. It is 11:43 a.m. It is the professional trader here, back again with another video. I haven't made a video in about a week. I think the last video I made was literally a week ago. But today's video is just going to be me giving my personal outlooks on the Forex markets, taking a look at the way I see things and how I plan on proceeding for the week. So let's just go ahead and get to it, right? As always, for anybody who watches my videos, I like to start with Forex Factory just to be aware of the news that is coming out for the week. So on Sunday, nothing really. On Monday, we have some AUD news. Tuesday, we have GBP news, and then we also have CPI, month to month, year to year, and core CPI. Wednesday, we have GBP, GDP. We have core PPI and PPI, and then we also have a lot of FOMC news. So that Tuesday and Wednesday looking pretty important. On Thursday, we have a lot of GBP news, and we also have some USD news as well. We have retail sales and unemployment claims. And then on Friday, we have some Euro news, GBP news, and then we also have some more USD news. So pretty heavy on the fundamentals this week, right? And in my opinion, needed, right? Because if we look at the DXY, the DXY is, it's in a pretty odd place, in my opinion. So uh we take a look at the weekly chart. Just go ahead and delete all this. Right, so right, so after being on this, bullish uptrend for, weeks on weeks on weeks, we see that, prices finally started to give some of that back. And last week, we saw that, we started off the week pretty no, not the week before, not last week, but 2 weeks before, right? We saw that, after coming down pretty hard, right? We came down all the way over here, rejected this level, right? And last week we saw we closed pretty bullish, right? And then, from a buyer standpoint, talked about how price was, respecting this 618, right? We perfectly came down here, wicked it, and then last week we also closed, bullish. So the DXY is looking pretty bullish. But it's hard to say, is the DXY bullish or is it bearish? It's hard to say just yet, what it really is. Because, even we have rejected this level. We closed bullish, but we're still in this like, kind of range. We haven't seen that new high get created, right? To call it a higher high, right? And we haven't seen that, we haven't seen that continuous momentum to the downside get made either, right? So really just kind of, in this range, really. So with the news coming out, this week, it'll be pretty interesting to see which way the dollar goes. But we had let me see. Uh, Last week we had NFP. Yeah, we had NFP, right? And NFP came out pretty positive for the dollar. The numbers came out pretty better than expected, which doesn't go along with what the markets have been doing, which has been downtrending for the last several weeks. But even though the numbers came out hotter than expected for the DXY, we still never closed below this high right here, right? So pretty telling in my opinion for the DXY. We had NFP come out pretty hot, and even with those numbers being pretty hot, we popped up all the way here, rejected it. We did still close green though, and then another candle came up over here, rejected it, still closed green, right? So it's hard to say what the DXY is going to do, but basically, are we going to see a new break of this, and are we going to start to continue higher, or is this level going to get rejected again? And are we going to start to see, lows come in, right? So it'll be pretty interesting to see what the DXY does. But from a technical analysis standpoint, still looking bearish in my opinion. So I'm still looking to trade along with that direction. So here's a trade that I took on Friday, I believe. Got stopped out of it for a small loss, but We just go on the weekly, start on the weekly, right? So, you know, we've been trailing up higher for the last several weeks. Um, you know, we broke above this level right here. Not really, right? But and we kind of broke above it, not really, right? Closed bullish, not last week, but the week before that. But then, last week, we see that, that bullish continuation, it's kind of struggling. So, um, GBP USD, it bought higher. This candle is higher than this candle. This candle went higher than this candle. And then, last week we saw that price kind of retraced, into this area, kind of support, right? It doesn't look the cleanest on the daily, but I mean on the weekly, but on the daily, we can see that, price came and it's just kind of like retesting, it's not the cleanest level, right? But we saw price fall, break above, right? And then now we see that price is, back in that area again, right? On the weekly, I believe it might look, yeah, it's not the cleanest level, right? It's not the cleanest level, but we see that price is in this little area that, every time price came here, I feel like this is the better tool to use. Every time price came here, right? We saw that price fell, right? And then right, and now we're right back, in that area, right? So where we see, so basically, this support area, right? And I really just want to see, if this, area can hold. Um, you know, it looked like it was going to close below here last week, but we saw that what it ended up doing was pretty much just I wouldn't call it a fake out. People call it liquidity. You can call it blah blah blah, whatever you want. But price price looked like it was going to close below here, but it didn't. We wigged, right? Never got the clean close below here. So am I bullish, or am I bearish on it? If I had to pick a way, I would still be leaning, I'd still be leaning bullish just because, the price action really hasn't changed yet. It looked like I said, it looked like we were going to close below here, but we never closed below here. So, you know, technically, in my opinion, still bullish, but we need to see that, we need to see some price action, start to form. So, something like that could work, trying to trade this higher, but we just need to see if that bullish momentum is going to continue. And then if that doesn't work and we see another close below here, then I'll know that the trend is not bullish anymore, right? So just gonna be patiently waiting on GBP USD. I tried to buy on Friday. I got stopped out of it, but doesn't look like the bullish trend is over, right? But it's hard to say, like I said, right? It's hard to say. But that's GBP USD. I'll just be looking to see which way it closes. Do we start to see those higher highs or do we see, a lower low? USD JPY. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. This is GBP JPY. Let me look for USD JPY. USD JPY. So delete this. So on USD JPY on the weekly, right? So, you see that we rejected this resistance level, pretty cleanly, right? Price came over here, had a big bearish impulse. This closed below lower, and then this closed below lower. So, most definitely like, in a bearish in a bearish trend, for the moment, most definitely. But we see that we rejected, this level, of what was once resistance, right? We saw price fall over here, break above, retest, and then break above, and now price came over here, came down over here, but never closed below, right? Never technically closed below. So The structure is it's bearish for sure, right? But need to proceed with caution, right? So, I look at it on the daily. And I wouldn't buy this, I wouldn't really be looking for buys in this area right now, but if price does creep back above, here and starts to make higher highs, that is just something to be cautious of, right? But to go along with the trend and what's been happening, right? I feel like the best move would be to right it would be to patiently wait for another break and any type of retest, right? Because we haven't really had that. I mean, we can call this a lower low, but we really haven't had that first true lower low in my opinion. So if we can get, I mean, we can call this, we can call these lower lows right here, but these were all just, retracements that look like they like the buy. These were just all retracements for buyers to potentially step back in, right? And this was the biggest level that we saw that buyers could step back in, right? But we see that sellers are pretty strong in this area, right? So if we can just get another clean breakdown, from this area right here, like I said, we'll be looking to potentially try to get in on these sales. USD CAD, go ahead and delete USD CAD. Looking at USD CAD on the weekly, right? We see that this resistance level right here. We have this high resistance level right here, right? And then we have this resistance level right here, right? That we saw that price never completely made it up here. It peaked to this resistance level, right? And then we saw that price started to fall right from this resistance level right here. So, price is kind of in this ugly like just area, right? Because we saw that, price has pulled pulled back up every time it's kind of just touched, this little area right here, right? Price came here, went up, came here, went up, fell in this area, but came right back up, came here again, went back up, right? And now we're just kind of back in that area. So, for USD CAD, to me, the sales look good in my opinion, right? Just because that's what it's been doing. But I'm not looking to sell this right now, and I'm not really looking to buy this right now, just because of the area that it's in. So for me, for USD CAD, the only way that I could personally sell USD CAD, would be the breakdown of here, and then if we can start to see these breakdowns, right? But I wouldn't be looking for a sell on USD CAD until we got this, first breakdown right here. And if we can get that breakdown, to this level looks good. It's not the most pips, right? So it's not the best risk to reward ratio. So that's why I feel like the best trade for USD CAD, is this break. And, if we can get that break, then, any type of retest, to me looks good to continue to try to sell this pair. Gold, so another one I took a loss on Friday, NFP was just looking to see if we could get that momentum right with that NFP, but didn't happen. So, looking at gold, on the weekly, we have this high resistance right here, right? Price peaked above it, but still never closed above it, right? Even though we did peak above it. So that's just something to be aware of, right? Peaked above it, came up all the way over here. And then, we saw that last week we closed in a very very bearish candle, right? To come up all the way over here and close down over here, that's pretty telling. So, personally, I'm not really looking to buy gold right now. And I'm not I don't know if I'm looking to sell it either, right? It's kind of like a lot of Forex pairs, are really just kind of, in a weird place because there's this there's this level right here that price could potentially hold, right? And we saw it's kind of wicking, not the biggest wick, right? But price could potentially hold, at that level. And then we also see this level right here that if price came to, we could see that hold as well. So I'm not ready to just sell this just yet. but I'm not ready to buy it just yet. But if I had to pick a side, I would go with the buys just one more time, just because even though it did a wick over here, this is pretty telling, right? We saw that price wanted to come over here, but it couldn't hold, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't get back to those levels, right? And if you see that DXY continue to be bearish, then we can potentially see this continue to go higher. So if we can peak in this area come next week and start to see some type of bullish reaction, then I'll be maybe looking to try again. But just gonna be patient with gold. GBP JPY. Last week, we saw that the yen um found a lot of strength. So right, but looking at it on the weekly, we came to this resistance level over here, and we saw that we couldn't close higher, right? We couldn't break higher. And not last week, but the week before that, we had a bearish reaction. And then, this last week we saw that we had another bearish reaction, right? But um interesting though, right? I'm not really ready to just sell it just yet because we have these wicks over here, right? Price came all the way down, came up, came all the way down, came up, and then right, it's right back in that area, right? So I'm not ready to sell just yet, but I'm not ready to buy just yet because nothing is saying that there are buyers in this market other than this wick, that wick in this area. That's the first sign that there could be potentially buyers stepping in, but you know nothing has really said that buyers want to continue this buy. But if we can come down here, maybe once again and reject it again, then maybe it looks good for the buys. But um if that doesn't happen and we start to just really see this, continue to break through, a break below here and any type of retest to me looks good to, sell this pair. But it'll be interesting to see what happens this week. AUD USD, looking at it on the weekly. Uh so we've most definitely been in this like bearish it's been bullish for the last couple of weeks, but we're still in this like bearish trend for sure. My phone is ringing. I apologize about that. Turn that off. That Turn that off. My phone is crazy. So right, we've been in this bearish trend, for the last several weeks, even though for some time now we have been, trending higher, right? We saw this impulse move, this retraced, came higher, and then this candle right here was higher, right? But then, last week we saw that we kind of came to the top of this channel, and then, we're potentially rejecting it now. So for me on, AUD USD, the only way to really properly trade this, is to see, another high, start to form. Let me go back to that weekly real quick. Right, would be another high, start to form. And and if that doesn't happen and we break below last week's low, then I'll be looking to, trade it in that direction. For AUD USD, I'm really just looking at, which way is it gonna break? Are we gonna get a break, this way, continue to go higher, or are we gonna start to see this pair fail? And right, are we gonna get a break this way? And if we can, then I'll be looking to try to trade it this way. So that's how I feel about AUD USD. But it's just, what is that dollar gonna do this week? So um Euro USD, you know, even though like AUD USD, Euro USD kind of moves similarly, how I feel about AUD USD is not really how I feel about Euro USD. I would buy AUD USD one more time, but I wouldn't buy Euro USD um at this moment, right? Just because, you saw that not um let me not use this. Let me use this one, right? So we saw that we had this resistance level right here. Price fell in those areas. And then, the same thing happened once we got back to that area, right? We got back to that area again. And then, we saw price come up here, close bearish, and then, this candle closed lower than this one. So, um, you know, it's hard to buy this right now, right? It's most definitely hard to buy this right now, and I wouldn't say it's hard to sell this right now, but for me, it's I don't really like it, truth be told. Don't really like it. Not really looking for anything, in this market right now. But, if we continue to, close, below these lows, if we can get a close below here, any type of retest, looks good to potentially, try to continue to short this. But is that gonna happen? I'm not sure, but not looking to buy it right now, and then not really looking to sell it right now. But even with all this resistance right here, that doesn't mean that this can't continue to hold. So if that dollar is just super bearish, there are places that this could potentially go continue to buy one more time, and we still have this area right here, and then there is still this area right here. So the best trade to me for Euro USD would be, either trying to buy it down here or either waiting for the break and in the retest right here. I feel like this move right here, I would really just leave alone. So I feel like this area right here, whatever the price action in this area is the better move rather than this move right here. So yeah, USD Swiss franc, I'm not really watching. Oil is continuing to trade lower. Euro AUD. I missed the sell opportunities that I talked about last week, but looking at Euro AUD, on this weekly, most definitely, last week we closed, not last week, but the week before that, very impulsively to the downside. And then, last week we saw that we came up here, retested it, and then, we didn't close bearish. We still closed kind of green, but, came up all the way over here, and then we saw that sellers were strong, also last week also as well. But we have a lot of like support in this area right here. So, just need to be cautious. But I still potentially like Euro AUD to the sell side, but it would be hard to sell it right here. Right. So for me, Euro AUD, just want to see if we can get another break. If we can get another break and then, any type of retest to me looks good, to try to sell this. But if that doesn't happen, and then, if price comes here and we start to see like, price action tell us that this is ready to go higher, I'll be looking to maybe try to get in on the break of this structure right here where I have this red line. So yeah, things aren't really like the clearest in my opinion on the Forex markets right now. And to me, this is a time for a lot of people to lose money just because, things aren't really trending. But trying to trade the way of the trend when things aren't really trending can get kind of tricky. So just need to be cautious and wait for things to set up. My Forex account for anybody who is not my Forex account, my FTMO account for anybody who is along with me on that journey. Took some losses last week. I'm back to 6.18%. Lost about $100, lost about 1% on Friday, but just gotta continue to stay mentally strong and just gotta continue to do things the proper way. So yeah, really wasn't too active in the markets last week just because too many things weren't happening. But I feel like this week should be better. So, as things happens and as I take trades, if I do take trades, I'll be making videos on that. Probably be making my next video on Tuesday, when those numbers come out. Yeah, probably on Tuesday. I'll be making a video sometime around then. So, until then, I appreciate anybody who is, watching my videos. Thank you to anybody who is liking, commenting, subscribing. Let's have another good week in these Forex markets. Let's not lose our accounts, even though we are wrong on things. It's okay to be wrong, but as long as our capital is protected. So yeah, looking forward to having a good week on the Forex markets. So I'll see you guys when I see you. Thank you.